Hello mathematicians, this is Ms. Backfish and I am back with some long division practice. This would be a good time if you would like to try these to pause your video and try the problems, but let me point out one thing before you do. There are a couple of little curveballs here. If you want to try to find the curveballs yourself, go ahead and pause the video. Otherwise, I suggest you let me point them out to you. One is, this is not in standard form. Always make sure you're in standard form first. Another is, don't forget to look for the need for placeholders. You might need a placeholder in the divisor just as much as you might need a placeholder in your dividend. All right, so with that said, if you want to go ahead and try them, great. And if not, let's jump in together. All right, number 1, x minus 3 is being divided into x cubed minus 9x squared plus 27x minus 28. The first question I ask myself is, what do I multiply x by to get x cubed? The answer is x squared. Then I multiply x squared times x, giving me x cubed, and x squared times negative 3, giving me negative 3x squared. Then I'm going to subtract top to bottom. When I subtract there, I have no more x cubed term. Negative 9 minus a negative 3, be super careful with your signs, is the same as negative 9 plus 3. So this is negative 6x squared. We'll bring down the 27x so that we have two terms on deck because we're dividing by two terms. So we need two terms on deck. Then we're ready to start the same process over. X times what makes negative 6x squared? The answer is negative 6x. Negative 6x times x is negative 6x squared. Negative 6x times negative 3 is positive 18x. Now we subtract. Negative 6x minus negative 6x, there are no more x, negative 6x squared minus negative 6x squared. There are no more x squared terms. 27x's minus 18x's, that gives me 9x's. And again, bring down another term so that I'm dividing two terms into two terms. My final sequence here is x times what makes 9x? That would be 9. 9 times x is 9x. 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. Negative 28 minus a negative 27 is negative 28 plus 27, which gives me negative 1. That is my remainder. The way we generally write the remainder, you might have a teacher that wants you to just write remainder negative 1, that's fine. We generally write plus the remainder over the divisor. And this whole thing becomes my answer. This can be described as the quotient plus the remainder over the divisor. That was number 1. Let's go ahead and try number 2. Number 2, we have m cubed minus 7m plus 3m squared minus 21. That is our dividend. And remember, it's not in order. It's not in standard form. So I want to go ahead and rearrange it and put it in order. The order matters because when we're doing long division, we end up with a column that matches each one. In other words, like terms. We have an m to the third column, we have an m squared column, we have an m column, and we have a constant term column. Now this time I'm dividing by m squared minus 7. So I need to actually have a placeholder there because there's an m squared, there's not an m to the first, and then there's an m to the 0 for a constant term. So I'm going to go ahead and say m squared plus 0m minus 7 when I write that out here. All right, ready to go. M squared times what equals m cubed? Well, that would be m. Now I'm going to multiply this m by each of these three terms, and they'll all line up under here because we have three terms here. So m times m squared is m cubed. M times 0m, anything times 0 is still 0. So we have 0m squared. M times negative 7 is negative 7m. So I'm going to subtract here, and when I do, the m cubes will give me 0 m cubes. The same thing will happen here. So I'll have 0 m's. but I need that place to be held still, so negative 7 minus a negative 7 gives me 0 m's. But here, 3 minus 0 gives me 3. There's a 3m squared plus 0m. Bring down the negative 21 because I have 3 terms in my divisor, which means I need to have 3 terms on deck. Now I'm ready to do the next one. M squared times what makes 3m squared? That would be times 3. So 3 times all of this is going to go under here. So 3 times m squared. 3 times 0. You don't really have to write 0m, but it kind of can be helpful to make sure you keep everything aligned. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21, and voila, I will have no remainder. So my answer is just m plus 3. That is number 2. Let's do number 3. Here we go. 6x cubed minus 5x squared minus 12x minus 4. All divided by 3x plus 2. Remember, if you'd like, you can pause at any time and try to complete the problem we're on your own. Can be very helpful. Just go as far as you can. See if you get stuck. 3x times what makes 6x cubed? Well, that would be 3 times 2, and x times x squared. So 2x squared is my answer. So 2x squared times 3x is 6x cubed. 2x squared times 2 is 4x squared. Okay? I hate to clutter up the picture, but I like to do this when I'm doing it on my own in pencil. I like to point out that I multiply this times this and this times this. And I do that with every term that I put on top. When I'm asking myself what to put up there, I just look at the first term. I say 3x times what equals this. I don't worry about the plus 2 at all when I'm asking that question. But once I have decided what goes up here, it has to be multiplied times both of those things. All right, this subtraction gives me 0x cubes, negative 5x squared minus 4x squared. Be careful with your subtraction. That's negative 9x squared. I'm going to bring down this term. 2 terms out here means I need 2 terms on deck. Next question is 3x times what gives me negative 9x squared? Well, that would be a negative 3x. So negative 3x times 3x gives me negative 9x squared. Negative 3x times 2 gives me negative 6x. I'm going to subtract. Negative 12 minus a negative 6 is negative 12 plus 6, which is negative 6. And I can bring this down. Last time, 3x times what makes negative 6x? 3x times negative 2 gives me negative 6x, and negative 2 times 2 gives me negative 4. So again, ta-da, no remainder. And that means my answer is just 2x squared minus 3x minus 2. Finally, number 4. Again, it's your last chance to try it by yourself if you'd like to. While I'm shuffling paper here, you can hit pause. It's a little bit longer, this one. All right, notice that my divisor has 3 terms in it this time. So I'm going to do x squared plus 2x plus 3 divides into all of this. Excuse me. Now, all goes under here. I don't need any placeholders because I do have a term for each power of x, starting with my degree and working way down. X to the 4th, x to the 3rd, x to the 2nd, x to the 1st, x to the 0. Always check that and put a placeholder if you need to. All right, so first cycle is x squared times what makes x to the 4th? That would be x squared. So x squared times x squared gives me x to the 4th. Then x squared times 2x goes up under here. That's 2x cubed. Then x squared times 3 goes up under here. That's 3x squared. These guys, when I subtract, give me nothing. 4x cubes minus 2x cubes is 2x cubes. 10x squareds minus 3x squareds is 7x squareds. and then I bring this down. Why do I bring it down? Because if I have 1, 2, 3 terms here, I need to divide by 1, 2, 3 terms here, or divide into 3 terms here. All right, next we do the whole process again. This times what gives me this? That would be 2x. So plus 2x times each of these gives me 2x cubed plus 4x squared plus 6x. Then I subtract 3x squared plus 6x plus I brought down the 9. And the last time, x squared times what makes 3x squared? That would be 3. 3 times x squared plus 3 times 2x plus 3 times 3. There's another beauty with no remainder. So my answer is just x squared plus 2x plus 3. I hope this has helped you practice this, especially if it's a new skill, and that you will do great on your quiz, test, homework, or whatever. See you next time. Bye-bye.